All right. Welcome back to another Leog. I think this is the number 7. And now our League of Extremely Ordinary Gentlemen is going to change a little bit.
Yeah, it's more like the party of Extremely
Exactly.
Ordinary Gentlemen.
Imagine us as sort of a geek rat pack, if you will.
Hey.
We really need, you know what? We really need some theme music here.
We do.
And I'm thinking next time we do this in 2 weeks, it's gonna be our music show.
Dun,
We'll
dun,
bring in a
dun,
musician.
dun.
We'll get some music going. Just some party music in the background. Something that's a little, public domain, so we can't get sued over it.
Like Enemy instead of public
Now you
domain.
already know, myself, Leon, and Cyrus. But we got our good friends back, Jason and Bo.
Yeah,
Howdy.
Hello.
who I assume are now going to be with us as part of the League, officially stamped members.
Yes.
Oh, I'd like that. I feel like I feel like the one of the featured players on SNL, but not quite the main cast. It's like,
Okay.
and also,
You're pretty much Garrett Morris. You're right.
Hell, he's Anthony Michael Hall.
Oh, God.
See, now you're Joey Bishop. I couldn't figure out who was going to be Dean Martin, who's going to be Joey Bishop. You're Joey Bishop.
Oh,
I will
man.
fight you.
God, do I have
will
to be Peter
fight you.
Lawford then?
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. You guys are Joey Bishop and Peter Lawford at this point.
Maybe I can get upgraded.
But
at
one
some
of
point.
you.
Look,
one of you
I'm
will
not even
ascend
going to
to
get
Dean
into
Martin
who's.
status.
I'm not even going to get into who's Sammy Davis Jr. Okay, Liam?
Well, I think that's pretty obvious. I would say I was Dean Martin, but who would buy that?
Does that mean I get to be Frank Sinatra?
You get to be
No,
Frank
it does not.
Sinatra. This is the closest you'll ever get to Frank Sinatra.
What kind of messed up, bizarro world is this? I want to go home.
Now we got an exciting show on Leog this evening because we got a lot to talk about.
Oh, man, we have so much to cover. It's almost making me nauseous thinking about it. The comic of the week from Leon, and I believe you got 2 of them this week.
I do have 2. See, Mark Merlaw wrote both of the books I have for the book of the week.
Okay.
And the
Kick
first
ass.
one is Kick Ass.
Yeah.
Which, it's a book. Yeah, Kick Ass. Kick Ass. This book, I guess, the first issue sold out because I remember thinking like, well, I might check it out. It ain't like Kick Ass. It's kind of gimmicky. And it was sold out. I was like, oh, well, screw it. I don't care. But then they re-released the first issue with a little extra pages, and I was able to go to Austin Books and pick up issue 2 and 3. And what I have to say about this book is that it kicks ass.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of you guys got a chance to read it first.
I read them all, yeah.
But,
Yeah, I've done all 3 so
man,
far.
okay, if you were like most people on our site, a 15-year-old geek who reads
Yeah.
comics and have, all right, okay, I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna do
I've
a
never
poll.
known the touch of a woman either.
I'm gonna ask you guys, and be honest with me. Be honest with our audience who are on here to hear your honest words. How many of you, at some point in your life, dream that you might become a superhero?
I am still pissed off to this day that I cannot fire optic beams from my eyes.
So my little
yeah.
brother is an X-ray technician in the oil field, and I keep saying, if you see a spider, you irradiate that son of a bitch and bring it to me.
I strongly suspect that when I finally get to have sex, it will bring out superpowers in me.
All right, now
Or something.
I hear what y'all are saying, but I'm talking about
Let's hope that power is
knowing
not
that you
getting
weren't going to have
old.
powers, but that idea that you might, because it seemed completely plausible that you might be like Daredevil or Captain America,
Well,
go out with a costume and fight crime.
I want to fight evil. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's why else would I be on Spill? I'm here to fight evil. That's what I'm here for. As I speak, I'm fighting evil. Yes, I know you don't completely understand.
Yes,
but
Spill
that's because
perpetuates
you're
evil.
that's because you're going to end up being my Samuel L. Jackson in Unbreakable. That's why.
See, I was hoping I'd be your Samuel Jackson in The Incredibles. I got to be a villain now? What am I, the Monarch or Dr. Venture? What's
I was
going
hoping
on?
you'd be his Samuel Jackson in the Caveman's Valentine.
Oh.
No. He's yeah. You got to be my supervillain.
You're
because
you're
Jason,
that guy that Eddie Murphy kicks his ass in Coming to America.
Jason is my sidekick because he just said he's never known the touch of a woman. So naturally, he's boy virgin.
I'm Billy Quizboy.
Like Quiz Boy.
But
Well, anyway, getting back to Kick Ass. Is that what we were talking about?
I think we can safely say that yes, all of us have imagined.
Well, see, I didn't know if I
I'm
was
sorry, Leon.
that
Was
we
that a
can fight
rhetorical
crime.
question? About the...
because I can remember a time, and it's embarrassing to think about it. Like, reading this book brought that back. Like, oh, yeah, that's right. I did at one time think being a superhero is plausible. I could get a costume and fight crime because it needed to be done. And that was one of my goals. Now, I don't know what derailed me from it. Probably women. This is a comic about a 15-year-old kid, much like a lot of you, who reads comics, loves them, and thinks, hey, I'm in New York. There's a lot of crime. Somebody needs to do something. And he puts on a costume and gets out there to fight crime. And from that point, it's as realistic as you can imagine because he gets the shit
kicked
beat out of him. I mean, not only does he get the shit beat and stabbed out of him, he's immediately hit by a car.
Yeah, this shit is tragic and bloody and violent, and yet he isn't fazed for a second because you know what? He obviously is a Spill.com fan.
the whole. I mean, every issue, it's like a Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner cartoon, except with blood.
Now,
It's just horrible what happens to this
haven't
kid.
read Kick-Ass, but it's now on my list. Now, have any of you seen Mirage Man, the Brazilian movie? Hits DVD. How similar is that to
No,
Kick-Ass?
it's not at all, because here we've got a 15-year-old kid who can't fight for shit.
Okay.
Mirage Man is a Brazilian martial arts film about a dude who's huge, who even in Arnold Schwarzenegger's heyday, he probably could have taken him. Professional martial artist who's mildly retarded, maybe.
Yeah, he's kind of a goofy loser who wants to do the right thing.
Who decides to put on a suit and beat the crap out of people to do the right thing, and he gets his ass kicked at points, but still, this dude is the size of, like, a truck.
Okay.
This is a little nerdy
a little
guy.
nerdy kid. He's basically Peter Parker from Ultimate Spider-Man without any spider powers whatsoever.
Yeah, without anything.
So kind of the same concept of Mirage Man, only completely different cast of normal guy wanting to, normal, quote unquote.
In the most
wanting to be a
basic
superhero.
possible idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure all the people who've seen Mirage Man will now go, "Oh, I've got it."
Now, there's been,
and you don't.
there's been 3 issues of Kick-Ass, and I've loved them all, but I gotta say, there's a moment in the middle of the second issue where this thing really popped for me, because he gets so fucked up at the end of the first issue, and he goes through 6 months of rehab of the broken bones, of physical therapy, realizing the financial toll he's taken on his dad.
Oh, wow.
He's lost his mom, all that, and he's like, he burns all his comics. I'm never doing this again. And he goes like, but I knew that was a lie. And he puts the costume back on and gets back out there again.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, God damn.
Yeah.
I love this book.
Yeah, you gotta love him, but at the same time, the first 2 issues, I'm going, these are interesting, they're fascinating. I don't see myself going back and reading them again. It makes me wonder where he's going with this, but because it's really good. But I mean, all right, they're just okay in a larger, more memorable sense until the 3rd issue, where the last 4 pages of it or so are like whatever the opposite of something jumping the shark is what this does.
Yeah.
It goes from 0 to 60 immediately, and you go, holy shit, this is all awesome.
And they do kind of allude, like the kind of frontispiece of the first issue. He's going through some intense stuff, and it's quite obvious that he has kind of progressed beyond just being, this kid who's getting the shit kicked out of him on a regular basis. But yeah, the end page of issue 3 is just like, it's a total holy fuck moment.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Wow. Okay, I will be reading this before I leave the Liog lair tonight. Yes.
Yeah, I have him here, so you can read it before you go.
Outstanding.
Okay, now moving on to the second book of the week, or the 2 weeks. There's 2 weeks, I should have 2 books a week.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
This sort of came to me in a roundabout way from my member DJ Kent, or Kent as everybody else calls him except himself.
Or Bob.
Right, or Bob. But he talked to me about the whole Wolverine mystique, and last story arc that's been going on. And I thought it just started, not realizing when I picked it up, I picked up the last issue, which kind of recapped all the other issues, so I don't have to buy the others. But I also picked up Wolverine, Old Man Logan. And this book is Wolverine. It's like, I know.
Sorry, Old Man Logan.
Well, that's the thing.
Get out of my yard!
Wolverine tells kids to stay off of his property. Damn you pesky youngins!
Well, it's at the end of like whatever war's been going on between the villains and the heroes, and the villains have won. And most of the heroes have been killed, and Wolverine got his ass kicked so bad, he just decided, I'm putting my claws in, I'm never going to fight again. And from there, it's a Western. He's living on a farm with his family. It's 310 Yuma.
And it's a very it's the Unforgiven,
Well,
period.
it's I mean, because by the end, it reminded me, you can't say that 310 Yuma didn't remind you of Unforgiven
Sure,
beginning.
yeah.
And they both remind me of this story. It's very much a Western where the Hulk's grandsons, have the mortgage on his property and he can't pay, so they beat the shit out of him.
The Hulk gang, who are inexplicably, though descended from a nuclear physicist, complete and utter rednecks.
I know. Well, the whole world, I mean, the thing is, the world lost the battle against supervillains. I mean, there's a map, and it's divided up between the Kingpin's territory,
Dr. Doom's
territory. There's little things like
And then there's the
Pym
mystery of
Town.
who the president is.
Yeah,
who's
the
big
president?
bad? And I'm thinking it's going to be a big reveal where it's actually one of the good guys. You know.
I'm thinking it's one of the good guys.
It's Reed Richards.
It's
almost
knowing Mark
has to
Millar,
be,
it's
doesn't
Reed
it?
Richards or it's Tony Stark. Because he has painted them to be the BDIUs, the biggest douchebags in the universe.
Well, assuming Tony Stark isn't a Skrull.
There's no way
It's
Tony
either a
Stark's a
scroll or a scrotum.
There's no way Tony Stark's a Skrull because that's just too goddamn obvious.
Even the fact watching him just sit there and fall for it from the Skrull Spider Girl, you're like, really?
But
you? Come on, you're just a dick, Tony.
I was.
I love that. You're not a Skrull. You're just an asshole.
I was just reading Old Man Logan prior to the Diog meeting with kind of with Jason doing some commentary on the side, and it is really interesting, and it's obviously it's a very great Western. It just kind of begs the question as to why the hell is this being done at all? I mean, is it an imaginary tale? Is it a what if? Who knows?
Yeah, that was my question as well.
And also,
gotta be.
there's some continuity points in it that I just don't buy. Like the idea that Wolverine would ever go, I'm just sick of fighting. It's like, what?
No. Yeah.
You're sick of fighting?
It merits mentioning that Mark Millar has said that this ties closely into his other projects, Fantastic Four and Marvel's 1985.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how. I'm assuming it'll make itself apparent. I'm not reading either of the other ones because the Fantastic Four one is a godforsaken blight on comics, to be
See,
quite honest.
I was going to start buying it until you told me not to.
No.
No, I mean, come on.
God, stay away.
This
Stay
is
away.
the X-Men in an alternate bleak future. We've never seen that before from an X-Men character.
Retreading any old ground at
Well,
all?
I'm not
Look,
saying
you
that
guys-
per se. I'm not saying that per se. I really, really liked this first
it's good.
issue. I think it was really strong. You're right. It reminded
It's
me a lot of a
fun.
classic Western.
I'll give you that.
But it made me want to go back and read more. So I read the run right before this with Wolverine chasing Mystique across the world. And that read like a Western as well. And now I want to read this whole run of Wolverine and say, has this been their theme the whole time?
I doubt it.
I mean, let's face it,
recent,
Wolverine
no.
started as a
Recent-
samurai.
True.
And like in the Chris Claremont years, it was all like, running across the whole samurai lines. And now doing him as a Western character, well, hey, it does kind of make sense.
Wolverine's becoming Batman in a way. It's like there's so many different interpretations. They might as well be different characters in some cases.
Except that he actually prefers to kill people.
Right. There's that.
There is that. Well, there's something like a key element to like a great Western is the code of honor. There's just that code
Yeah.
of honor that your protagonist has.
Kind of
And-
a high noon Gary Cooper thing.
Yeah, and that's what this has in it. And it's a first issue, so I'm like, yeah, there's questions, but I'm not ready to discount anything because it could all have a great, explanation for it.
It's got that feeling of dread and regret and defeat that is really just salient in Unforgiven.
It's undoubtedly a good story. I don't know. I'm kind of wondering why they're using Wolverine to tell it.
All right, but you
because-
want to be the naysayer.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I'm going to read the next issue. There's
Because-
no question about that.
Well, if they had like Henry Pym or something, then it wouldn't sell as many comics.
Not even that. And I know.
Wolverine's his golden boy, the Marvel's golden boy.
I understand that. It's just that, sometimes I think Mark Millar, he comes up with a good story and he just kind of pastiches it on to whatever character he wants, kind of regardless of the continuity. Like the
You're right.
the
You're
the
absolutely right about
sidekick in this is Hawkeye. Hawkeye and Wolverine have such a rich history together, except, wait a minute, no, they don't. They've never had any history. Oh, wait a minute, I know, they were both Avengers.
Yeah,
at
that
separate
probably
times.
comes up. They're like, hey, weren't we on the Avengers one time together?
It's weird.
Yeah, you were the
I
guy
saw
that
you
was
in one of the
suddenly a
reunions.
ninja.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
I was looking at your page and I saw something that really pissed me off from somebody who had left you a
page?
message. Your page, Leon.
Oh, okay.
There's a guy named Raw who wrote about the Incredible Hulk movie, and he said, "Hey, Leon, you said in the review of the
that-
Incredible Hulk that it needed to be more cerebral, but you should recognize that Ang Lee was cerebral, and that movie was crap. So why did a more action-filled, fast-paced tone not work for you?"
I got 2 points on that.
Okay.
One is that there's nothing wrong with cerebral. I don't care who does it. Just because one guy didn't do it right doesn't mean the other guy won't do it right, and it doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Second, Ang Lee's movie is not cerebral. It's just fucking dumb.
It's the opposite of cerebral, actually.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. I mean, it's like a guy who doesn't understand what he's doing.
It's pandering, in fact.
It's taking it at its most immature level and trying to tell you that, like, no, this is deep. And you're like, no, dude, it's not. This is actually very shallow. You're paying lip service and you're boring me.
It's somebody who has never read a comic book in their life interpreting here's what a comic book is like, and no, it's not.
Well,
you obviously think that comic books are still like the Sunday funnies because that's what you have read in your life, but they're not.
Ang Lee had originally said while he was making it, I'm trying to make fine cuisine out of fast food.
Yeah,
and that immediately betrays a lack of respect for the source material.
Well, he failed at even doing that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
the thing is, I like fast food.
I mean, one thing that angers me about Ang Lee's Hulk is that you will get people who go like, well, I do like the way he brought the comics element into it by having the panels and all that. I'm like, did nobody see the Wonder Woman TV series from the 70s? Because they did that all the fucking time in the first season.
Had great theme
and
song.
it worked there.
Yeah.
Great theme song, great boobies. Linda Carter, come on, hottest woman ever.
Linda Carter, who still looks good,
She's
but I
still
digress.
fine.
She's still hot.
She is a gilf. Sorry.
You know what? You're right.
She totally is.
But the sad thing about Linda Carter is that you will never see her name mentioned in the press where the word Wonder Woman is not attached to it.
No,
she was
I know.
recently jogging and found a dead body, and they said Linda Carter, TV's Wonder Woman, which she hasn't played in 30 years. Found a dead body.
Wait, did that actually happen?
Yeah, it did.
Oh,
It did.
Yeah.
I thought you were just making that up.
No,
like
no,
an
no, no. It
example.
happened like 3 weeks ago.
Well, fortunately or unfortunately for her, she wasn't able to branch out like, say Mark Hamill, where they say, Corvette Summers, Mark Hamill.
I think Judd Winnick, who is who does Green Arrow among many other DC titles,
The friend of the dead gay guy from the real world. Yeah.
Great, but he was also a cast member like the third season of Real World, and I think it was him who said even if I cured cancer, it would still be today cancer was cured by the Real World's Judd Winnick.
Well, it's funny because Billy Crystal said that same thing about himself when it came to Soap. He's like, I don't want to die, and it says the guy who played the gay guy on Soap. Which now, nobody thinks of him that way.
Yeah. No, he's Fernando from Saturday Night Live.
Honestly,
I always will think of him that way.
Most people don't even remember Soap, to be honest.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, most people we know, people we know from Spill weren't old enough to remember.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Most people on Spill don't use
Wait a
Soap.
minute. Billy who?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like now when you think of Billy Crystal, you think,
Now we don't think of Billy Crystal.
He's that lame guy from all those telethons trying to fight the hunger.
Yeah.
No, he's the douchebag from City Slickers.
What's that?
That is your tombstone, Billy.
Oh, that guy looking for Curly's
that was your
gold?
shelf life.
Well, the Velour Fog, or Velour Fag.
Velour Fog.
Are you having some kind of fit?
No, I've just been drinking a lot today.
God, I think something's gonna burst out of his chest.
And now the new host of Leog Bo. Because Chris has suffered brain damage.
Chris has apparently had an aneurysm.
If I may go old school, I believe that's a reference to Mel Torme, who was the Velvet Fog, and now he's the Velour Fog.
I see. You wouldn't want to take anything away from Mel, but a tribute to him.
Sure.
Really? A Mel Torme reference on Spill?
Hey, he's the one who named himself the Velour Fog.
It happened on Night Court, which was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the Velour Fog says, hey, I was just listening to the new Leog, which is great, by the way, but I have a bone to pick. I'm a National Football League fan who watches each season religiously.
Do we have to continue from this point?
Yes, we do. I play fantasy football, know who Cedric Benson is. Did we mention someone named Cedric Benson
Yes,
last
I
week?
did. And you all
Who
looked at me
is
like I
this
had
Cedric
grown
Benson?
an arm out of my head.
Picked up on what your guest was alluding to. Not a guest, mind you. but Jason, an
part of the
officially
league,
accredited league member.
Now.
Yeah. I even have a recording, I think, of him actually giving his league speech intro.
Well,
I promise to do everything the league calls me to.
he was a member of the substitute league at that point.
All right. But the Velour
Justice League
Fog
Mexico.
says
He was the polar boy.
the Velour Fog says he was actually a pretty good athlete too. On top of that, he's a huge geek. That's right. Geek hybrids. Watch out, world. So I thought I'd just let you know there's at least one Spill member / Leog listener who is quite capable of throwing a football and in his and I'm sure other Spillers' defense.
I bet he likes Conan.
Yeah, and cock.
Wow. Hey, you know what? If that guy can throw a football, he could rule Spill. That means he's the beefiest guy on this site.
He could probably fight all of us at one time.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't live in Austin. It's all I
Great.
can
Now he's
say.
going to come here and throw Leog up on the roof where we can't get it. Maybe I'll do it if you can do some push-ups, fag.
Wow, laughter and then tears.
Oh man, I'm flashing back like crazy right now.
I gotta call my mom.
All right, Artsy Girl 1234 says.
How you doing?
After it says, how you doing? Oh yeah, Artsy Girl, I know what you like. You have problems with your daddy, didn't you?
You want to go listen to Bauhaus? And,
It's Bauhaus.
Bauhaus. I love that.
I believe Bauhaus is the noise dogs make in Mauritania.
Is that's the hee-haw version? Bauhaus.
and my bad joke goes horribly awry.
Yeah, that was you skidded into a metaphor. All right, after watching your Atonement and Wanted review, I have this to say. This site makes me feel like I have good self-esteem. I hear how you guys complain on these girls being too skinny, and I find it cool that real guys would prefer a size 3, my size, to a size 0. Plus, I don't like guys with huge muscles. It just makes me think he could probably snap me like a toothpick.
Dibs! I got dibs on her.
I know, right?
Yeah. You know what?
I
Artsy
think
girl.
Cyrus just wet himself.
Artsy girl, send us some pictures, and we'll determine if this self-esteem is warranted or not.
Because nothing builds your self-esteem than posting pictures of yourself on the internet.
Hey, man,
and having comic book geeks evaluate you.
a size 3 is a really good size. All you need is a good burlap sack, and the party's on.
Jesus Christ. I don't even know what a size 3 is. I'm totally clueless. What is that? What's the comparison? Who's a size 3?
Is hot.
Who's a size 3? Like what?
Size 3's good.
I don't know. It's good. Trust me.
Okay, 3 is good.
Okay, look,
it's a small frame girl.
0.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
a size 0 is like what looks good on, like you see a chick in a movie and she's thin, maybe not too skinny, but thin.
Like Keira Knightley or something?
Yeah.
A little bit, maybe a little bit, slightly more than that, slightly.
Size 0?
Slightly skinnier?
Like I guess, yeah. No,
Keira Knightley's like a size 0.
You're
Yeah.
right. You're
I say
right.
she looks like size -2.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so say Keira Knightley's size 0.
Yeah.
So, and you look at her and you go like, yeah, she's really pretty. I just wish she had a little bit more on her.
Well, she had a lot more on her personally, but
Well, then you come into size 3.
okay.
And you go like, yes,
'Cause
that's what I'm talking
size
about.
0
Size
just,
3 is size 0 with several sandwiches.
And to be
added
honest,
to it.
size 6 looks pretty good too.
Okay, fair enough.
Size 6 is awesome. If
The
you
point
ask
is,
me.
like, I mean, really what it comes down to is if you're happy with fucking whatever your weight is, for God's sakes, don't let anybody, don't read, all right, don't read fashion magazines. They're only going to make you feel fat.
Look,
It's a bunch of lies.
I can break this down, because I've studied this quite a bit.
Yeah.
The fact is, okay, that size 0, whatever, the skinny Keira Knightley, Angelina Jolie, that's not what men like. We never wanted that. It's just that, like, one year it was rolled out for us as, hey, this is the new model. It's the size 0. And we were like, oh, really? Because I was really into asses and boobs, but okay, if this is what you're offering me, because men will adjust. That's what we do. And so that's what we've gone with. But given our preference, we like having the meat and the curves.
I don't want to elicit any homophobia here, but perhaps an industry that is made up 90% of homosexual men shouldn't be determining the standards for what feminine beauty is.
Okay,
Exactly.
Believe it or not, we have a surprise appearance on this subject by a woman. This is Mary, who's a very close friend of all of ours.
Actually, Cyrus is just doing a voice.
That's not true. I'm not that talented. But she had something she wanted to say on this subject real quick because
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
obviously
whoa, whoa,
we
whoa.
have no clue what we're talking
We do
about.
not get women in here, dude. This is the HeMan Woman Haters Club. What's going on?
Dude, the estrogen balance is so off in this room. I needed to add a little perspective.
Okay.
You've been reading Conan again, haven't you?
Well, what is it that you wanted to say about size 3 woman?
Women. Why can't you say women?
Well, whenever I read that email, I thought, really? A 3? That's still considered petite.
Yeah, it's pretty tiny.
I'm thinking, if you're short and you're petite, that's one thing, because that's just a more appropriate build. But, when you see somebody who's my height, which is like 5'8" and a size 3, I'm thinking that chick's chucking up her dinner. So, I don't know. I think I'm trying to be realistic here. If you're short and petite, then that's expected, because you don't want to be off proportion.
I take a girl to dinner and she chucks it up, she's getting slapped.
I figured this subject right here definitely needed some female perspective, so I thought I'd chime in my 2 cents.
Well, thank you for the female perspective.
Thank you. There's no way
I totally agreed with everything we just said right before.
There's no way Keira Knightley is not sticking her finger down her throat, is all I'm saying. There's no way she's not.
Maybe she's got like a tapeworm the size of a boa constrictor or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you've even heard, too, her family history has anorexia in it. Her mother used to suffer. I think her grandmother, too. So...
maybe she's just got scurvy from the Pirates of the Caribbean.
The thing is, you hardly ever see about Keira Knightley is that she has actually very big muscular legs. They're gorgeous. She doesn't have like Angelina Jolie. She has toothpick legs, but along with being very skinny. Even when Angelina Jolie was considered hot, she still had skinny legs. Keira Knightley has big, healthy legs. So I don't know with her. I'll say this forever, and you won't believe me until you do it. But you really don't want to date an actress. Probably not an actor either, but they are in an industry that's all about how they look and what's going on with them. I mean, they might not start out self-absorbed, but the industry will make them that way, and you will not be able to stand it.
You have to be astonishingly talented as an actress to get past not being really skinny, unfortunately. It's just, and I'm blaming the industry on this one. In fact, I'm blaming the fans. I mean, why aren't you more like dealing with women who have a little bit more weight to them?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like fat. I'm just saying women who are normal looking.
And even if
America Ferrera, love her.
Yes,
even
stop
if
being
they're
bitchy like gay men about women,
Although we're giving the advice, hey guys, don't date actresses, as if these guys have a choice.
My God, I can't get from my car to the mailbox in the morning without beating off 3 or 5 actresses hurling themselves at me, forcing me to have sex with them.
I want to be you, Bo.
God, I wish all these actresses would just get the hell off of my jock.
Opinions presented in Leog are not necessarily representative of reality.
Well, because it made me think of back, I don't know if this was a year ago, not too long ago, when Jennifer Love Hewitt had this picture come out where she was on the beach.
Sure.
And she looked like she had gained a little weight, but not in the bad way. She looked normal. She's always been hefty up top, but she looked more balanced out, And then they were saying, oh my God, she's gotten fat just because she may have had one little jelly roll or something.
No.
I actually thought she looked good.
I would like to say this about those Jennifer Love Hewitt pictures.
She had some hail damage on the ass. Is what was happening.
Yeah, that's the thing. I read a lot about them before I saw them, and I was like, hey, man, that chick's hot, and if she gained a little weight, that's fine. She's still curvy. But to look at it, it's like, chick's got a lot of cellulite, and that's not so cool.
Well, no, I mean, it's the thing. It's like, all right, I don't really have a problem with a normal woman having some cellulite on their ass.
Sure.
It's hard to avoid for women past a certain age, for people past a certain age. But, if you want to stay in the limelight as an actress, if you want to